What's up, everybody? Here's Channer with GameIllustrated.com here with another review. Today we're looking at Inversion out for the Xbox 360 as well as the PS3. Developed by Saber Interactive, Inversion takes place in the near future where the main character, Davis Russell, and his friend Leo Delgado are fighting off a futuristic invading force called the Luthador that is starting to invade planet Earth. They've enslaved most of humanity, and while you're dealing with them, you also have to find Davis's daughter, who has been lost in all the chaos. The main selling point that's supposed to make this game so separate from everything else is the anti-gravity aspect. It's basically in the title, Inversion. You can go from basically regular gravity attacks and fights to all of a sudden zero gravity to negative gravity. It's absolutely crazy here, but it makes things a lot more interesting instead of just walking around trying to avoid buildings, as you can see here. We're going around shooting enemies behind gates that are 50, 60 feet in the air. It makes combat a little bit more interesting. It makes for an overall unique experience that, while it's not capitalized, it's something that Saber Interactive can definitely work on. The pacing of the single player was a little bit slower than I expected. Every once in a while you'll have to stop and help Leo get around obstacles or open up garage doors, and you can skip through this, but I thought this was kind of annoying. Another thing I also thought was a little bit disappointing, despite the fact that you have your gravity gun that can allow you to grab objects and kind of throw them at opponents, which makes things definitely interesting. The guns were not that much. I'll tell you what. Some of these guns seemed like they needed to drop balls, to tell you the truth, because they sounded so wimpy. I've heard 16-bit guns sound a little more intimidating than some of the guns I heard in this game. So overall, though, I got to say there was a lot in this game that can be built upon. It was an interesting title that had me curious for the most part. This is a little multiplayer action here, and as much as I wanted to get into it and try to give you more of it, this is basically what I had to deal with most of the time here. Trying to find a game. It took forever. It was like Phantom Dust for the Xbox. Yeah, great game, but nobody played it. Nobody knew about it. There's definitely a lot here that Saber Interactive has to build on, and I think next year's title, if they can come out with something a little bit better, they've got something to work with. This is Channer here with GameIllustrated.com. For more interesting news, more reviews, go to GameIllustrated.com.